Morning, everybody. It is February 14th. It's Valentine's Day. Wow. It's Valentine's Day. I hope that you all are with loved ones. I'm home alone by myself. Just kidding. I actually like being by myself. It's a good thing. Enjoy time alone. It actually is a very good, positive thing for you to do. But, anyways, happy Valentine's Day, my friends. And I think it's funny actually that we have holidays in order to tell people that you love them. Why can't you just say it like on a daily basis? Why do you need a holiday to tell somebody I love you? It's quite fascinating to me. But good morning, Freebird. Nice to see you. Hi, Dana. Happy Valentine's Day. Hi, Brandon and Nate. But don't you think it's a little bit weird that we have a holiday so that we can tell other people I love you? Don't you think you should be doing that every day? I just think like I don't need somebody. I don't need a holiday. So what are you doing on the other days? Are you not saying I love you to your family? Are you not saying I love you to your friends? Are you most importantly not saying I love you to your lover daily, or at least more than the day tells you to? So am I being a Scrooge? Como hola mi amigo. España, Feliz San Valentín. Pero usted también. So I'm glad that you guys are here. And many of you know about, I think it's been 4 years ago, I went through a horrible divorce. I want to talk about my horrible divorce on Valentine's Day because I want to talk about what is love. What is why do we have to be told to say I love you to somebody? Has it become a commercial? Has it always been a commercialized holiday? Is it a holiday? Do we get the day off? And what does it all mean? I don't really understand. Can somebody please tell me what's the whole point of Valentine's Day? Amanda says, screw Valentine's Day. I'm wearing my Halloween socks today and I'm going to the gym. My fiance doesn't even realize it was because if your fiance is only buying you things today and not saying I love you on the other days, I think that's more weird than forgetting Valentine's Day. Don't you? Don't you? So, hi Mitchell. Nice to see you. I feel that way too. You should prove your love every day. We've commercialized everything, everything. Brandon says, yeah, but I think it's mainly commercialism. I mean, it's the same with Christmas, Halloween, Easter, New Year's. I mean, some of those are holidays that are supposed to be about religion. But what is Valentine's Day really about, and why did it start? Does anybody know that? Because personally, I just don't need to be told when to tell you I love you. I like to tell you I love you every day. And I like to buy you presents every day. And I like to not feel like it's like this thing that only today, only today. Hi, Larissa. How are you doing, my friend? It's just ridiculous. Amanda says my brother has always done holidays like that, or rather didn't. He doesn't like feeling obligated. Obligated. That's the key. Do you know that I don't buy anybody Christmas presents? I don't even buy. That's not what Christmas is about. It's about spending time with your family and about having a good rapport with people and spending time eating and loving. Don't buy into commercialism. I'm not doing a happy Valentine's Day special on my stuff today because I feel like that's in a sense like sort of duping you into buying my products. And I want you to buy my products because you want my products, not because it's a special day to buy my products. So in that, I think today I'll make a special anti-Valentine's Day coupon for some money off of the products. That way we can talk about why commercialism sucks and why we're forced into buying things on days that you should be telling everyone you love them every day, my friends. Every day. It shouldn't just be Valentine's Day. I know I sound like a bummer, but I really think it's true. Jay, good morning, Jay. Jay says, "Hey, Buck, I just found my son after 21 years and found out he was gay." Wow, this made my heart so happy. Wow, Jay, that's an incredible story. Thank you for sharing that. Hi, Rachel. How's it going? I haven't seen you in forever. Uh, Nate, Valentine was arrested, dragged before the Perfect of Rome by beaten with clubs and then decapitated. Okay, I get it. So and Amanda says you should put the prices slightly higher on Valentine's. No, I'm not gonna do that. Denise says I don't celebrate it either because love is every day. I don't want to chocolate and roses. I'm not buying anything. Cheryl says my husband and I have been married 40 years. Congratulations. We try to make sure we hug each other at least once a day. That's the most important thing. Hi, Nushi. How you doing? Finally awake early enough to catch. Allison says happy birthday. I mean, happy Valentine's Day. I think it's my birthday. Valentine's Day, Buck. I was dumped last night for being too orgasmic and having an overly powerful pussy. Wow. Actually, Allison, that's the best thing that could happen to you. Are you kidding? That's amazing. Screw them. People are so really, really, people, you're gonna dump somebody because they're overly orgasmic. Isn't that a little sexist or a little bit? Was your partner, if I can ask, identifying in a gender, or how is the partner? Allison, is the partner a man, a woman, transgender? What are they? I would like to know. Dory says, congratulations, Jay, on finding your son. I know it's awesome. Amanda says, Valentine's Day is also not overly inclusive. I don't think I've ever seen a commercial or ad for it that involves a transgender or any form of. Actually, I have seen an ad. I have, Amanda. I've seen an ad for gays, but I've never seen an ad for transgender people. So, and I'm doing that because what would the ad be? Right? I mean, I think. Ew. I hate when hair gets caught in there. It's gross. I don't know. I just kind of feel like I don't know how an ad for a transgender person would be. Maybe more for like queer or like people outside of the norm of gender, right? She says, be proud, find someone you can keep. Oh, the person identified as a male, Allison says. And I'm just shocked that they dumped you for that. That is the weirdest thing I've ever heard. Sorry. I'm so sorry. Yes, commercial holidays. So I want to start something new here on the B Cup. I'm tired of hearing me talk. Okay? Mitchell says, I bought myself a Kiss X for my birthday, so I don't need coupons for V-Day. Thanks for purchasing that. I hope that you really enjoy it. So, listen, kids. Let's start something new on the B Cup, where I think we can start with. I would like to have a little bit more interaction with you kids and more about what you're thinking about things. I always put like, today I put, do you care? I always have to put like a title of what I kind of want to talk about. Always it veers off because we have so much to talk about. But I'd really like for all of you to start participating a little bit more on subject matters that we need to start to talk about. So I'm thinking like I could start the conversation like I do in the morning, and then whoever puts out a question, we can start using that question as a platform to create more conversation because I want you also to be more participating in what we talk about because I'm the one basically gearing or steering us towards what we talk about on a daily basis. And that's okay. I'm comfortable with that because I just am. I'm comfortable bringing up conversation, but I don't want to be sort of the only person that maybe there's pressing issues for some of you out there that you really want to talk about, but you don't necessarily think you have the opportunity with me. So I think I want to open this up to that right now and say if there's any things that you feel I'm not talking or discussing that need attention not only in our community but also in the world, I'm more than happy to be steered in that direction from you. So I want to open that up to you. And so if you have any ideas or anything that you want to talk about, just put it out there. And if I see it, we'll start to talk about it. So what I did yesterday was I did an interview with these two guys from the UK, and they're called Frank and Oz, and they have a UK podcast, and they're two white dudes, totally cisgender, totally heterosexual, but super cool and funny. Now, they're comedians, so they like to make fun of shit, and I love to go on shows like that because it's a great way for me to educate their listener base, which their listener base is white, cisgender, heterosexual men. Perfect for me. Perfect. I somehow get across to them a lot. Now, I want you to understand that I don't use the politically correct language that some in our community are forcing us to use. I don't believe in that. I believe in freedom of speech, and I believe in freedom of your own desire to have conversation, however that is. And you know, I call myself a tranny. I'm very much into reclaiming that word, and I talk about it all the time outside of our community. And I talk about why context and intent on every word you use is important. And so I always bring up that word tranny on these kinds of shows. And people go, oh, but wait, aren't you not? Isn't that a bad word? I'm like, let me finish explaining to you. I consider myself a tranny. I consider myself a man, and I consider myself able to use that word. Now, for somebody like yourself, it's not really cool for a cisgender white dude to go around saying tranny, unless I and you are having a conversation and you know that I'm okay with it. Number one. Number two, intent and context. So if you're calling a transgender woman or a transgender man a tranny in a negative way, that's not cool, my friend. And they were like, oh, okay, we get it. I go, there's a lot of that being used derogatory. Now, I'm going to ask you the next question. I said to these two young white cisgender men. I said, what about the use of the word queer? This is a word that we've been using all of a sudden in a younger generation. Not only just transgender people, not only just gay people, but a lot of cisgender hetero people are using it. And so I find it quite fascinating that queer is okay to use, but tranny isn't. They're the exact same words on a lot of levels. They've both been used derogatory. They're both come from horrible backgrounds, but queer is celebrated and tranny isn't. And they were like, wow, that's a really great point. I'm like, it is a great point, and it's really interesting to me that nobody in my community can answer the question. As you know, it's a question I pose constantly, and nobody can answer the question. Allison says, I do have a question, and my therapist suggested asking your opinion. I am finding it really violating to only be able to stroke off my packer penis, which is my cock, but at some point it ends up having to go because I can't hold it in place. Are there any other options? Well, yeah, no, I don't know if there's any other options because I'm not really understanding how you're holding it into place. Is it your packer that you're holding into place? My new packer actually has a strap on it. So I don't have it right here, but the Fun Boy behind me, it comes with a strap, like a waistband. So it's more like a harness. So it's actually on you. So, and also it has a little hole in the back that you can stick your little penis or whatever you want to call it, your clitoris or whatever, inside of it. So there's that. But, we all have to find different ways to masturbate and to do that. And so that's why I'm creating all these toys so that we can more enjoy the masturbation part. Because I really believe that masturbation is a really great way to, really connect to your body. And we don't talk about masturbation a lot. Why don't we talk about masturbation a lot? I don't really understand why in the transgender community we don't talk about sex. Or when we do talk about sex, it's only about pornography or it's only about basically really boxed in ideas. But we really don't have the level of conversation I think that we need to have. Good morning, News. She says, can you use the Fun Boy for sex, by the way? Yes, you can use the Fun Boy for sex. It is also an extender for anyone who has a penis, and they can put their penis. I'll bring it on board. I don't have it right here. It's in the other room. I don't want to get up and go get it. Tomorrow we can talk more extensively about it. But I just showed it on my Instagram, so go to my Instagram and you can see more about it. Philippi says, I have a young friend that is starting to transition, and I want to know what info I can pass on to him to help him. We live in a very small town. I highly suggest that he finds a therapist. Number one, therapy is mental health care is the most important thing, I believe, in transition. If you're not taking care of your mental health, you're not going to at all transition smoothly. I believe this. It's my opinion. This goes with this. Brain and body are it's the same. Your soul, your mind, physical, mental, those things all will push you forward. I don't also understand why we don't talk about therapy. We don't talk about mental health care within our community. We act as if it's a bad thing. It is probably one of the most dangerous things we don't talk about is mental health care and sex. And I don't understand why, because those two things are so important. So, Freebird says, I've been thinking about suicide lately. I mean, I'm not going to go through with it, but I think about it. Should I seek mental health? Because I don't see myself going through. Freebird, you most definitely need to see a therapist, okay? Please do that for me, if not for yourself. Really, honestly, my friend, even thinking or having suicidal thoughts is not okay. It means something's going on inside of your brain that isn't good. Because having suicidal thoughts means you're depressed, means you're not enjoying your life, means you don't really want to be here. And you should want to be here, and you should want to live life fully. So really, I encourage you, find a therapist, reach out. I don't know where you're at, but reach out to people, or even reach out to me, and I'll see if I can help find you somebody. But really, most importantly, get to a mental health care professional. Okay, it's so important. I'm telling you, I talk about it all the time. I just came back from Malaysia speaking to a group of people about mental health. It is really the most important thing for your transition. So Nushi says, Freebird, go to a therapist. It's help. See, I believe it. And Tori says, calling a suicide hotline could also be a start. Most definitely, you could do that too. But I personally really think you just need to get into a therapist right away, my friend. Amanda says, there are also places where you can text professionals. Yes, you can do that. Tori, do you know much about Trans Lifeline? I see you posting the number and the link. Do you know much about Trans Lifeline? I've had an experience with them. There's some people who are saying some things about Trans Lifeline that I'm investigating right now that are actually really disturbing and upsetting to me. So, in fact, if I was you, I would, Freebird, you can also call the Transgender Law Center. They have a lot of help. And you can also look for the LGBT Center near I have heard, specifically, Tori, that the phones aren't being answered on Trans Lifeline. That there are many times that the phones have not been answered. It's not good. And I also heard some other disturbing news that I don't really want to say right here until I find out everything about it. But it's quite sad. And it actually is upsetting to me because that doesn't really make me feel happy or whatever. So Alex says, feeling very left out of the conversation today. Oh, Alex, no one's leaving you out of the conversation. We see you here. We see you. You have to understand there's a lot. I have two things going on here at the same time. So Zoe says, I've called in a couple times to the Trans Lifeline, have you? And what happened when you called? Because what I heard is that people have called in and the phone just kept ringing and ringing and ringing and ringing. And that, my friends, is not a suicide Trans Lifeline place that you want to call into if the phones are just ringing and not being picked up. That's a little bit upsetting to me. So there are the Trevor Project. If you know the Trevor Project, they're amazing, and I have worked with some of the people there, and they have an awesome staff of people. So I think you and I should talk, Tori, offline. Zoe, I want to ask you what happened with that. Philippi, is that how I say your name? I'm a lesbian and I've been in therapy for a good part of my life. It has helped me through the years. I will help him find a therapist that could help. Thank you, Buck. No, thank you for doing that. I really appreciate it. Everyone's going to help you, Freebird. Everyone's going to help you because it's love here. We all love you, and we all want you to make sure that you're feeling mentally okay with yourself, okay? Because suicidal thoughts are not okay. I'm very, Trampons being super honest with you. That's sad to me that you feel that way. So let's see what we can do to help you out, okay? So Tori says, our trained counselors are here to support you 24/7. If you are a young person in crisis feeling suicide, the Trevor Lifeline. Thank you for posting that, Tori. So also the Trevor Lifeline. And on Facebook, Tori posted the number. But if you just go to the Trevor Lifeline, you can find that too, Freebird, okay? See how everyone just comes out there. So I'm going to have to go here in a couple minutes because I have to meet with my writer who's writing my book with me and pick up the slack. Being gone to Asia for that long, got a lot going on, my friends. So, Freebird, if you are in Canada, please message me. Thank you. I don't know, are you in Canada, Freebird? I don't know where you're located at. So, let's discuss more about organizations within our community and who's watching our organizations. Because honestly, you can't just open an organization like Trans Lifeline and not have any kind of people watching or people making sure that everything is running above board. Who's doing that? Is anybody? That's a major organization, Trans Lifeline. Is there a board of directors on Trans Lifeline? Or is it just the two ladies who are running it? You can't just have two ladies running an organization that's supposed to be that powerful and that big without anybody else overseeing that. You can't do that. That's not a professional organization. Yet many people donate a lot of money to it because it's a very important organization. But my point is there a board of directors, Tori? Is there a board of directors for Trans Lifeline? And if not, why? And who is overseeing where the monies go, and who is overseeing the taxes and all the things that need to be done properly? And I'm a little concerned with somebody telling me that the phones aren't being picked up. So what do you think about that? That's a little bit sad to me that I heard that, and it's not okay. So, and it's not the first time, and it's not the last time. People continually keep emailing me this. So, Zoe says it got answered, and I've never had a bad experience per se, but it's kind of dry support. Meaning, like Zoe, meaning that they haven't really been trained to the level of the Trevor Project, because they're seriously trained. A man, and then who trains you to talk on the phone? Who trains you to talk on the phone when you are suicide prevention? Can anybody do it? What kind of training do you get? Amanda says it sounds like they're just there for the name versus actually doing anything. You can pledge to do something, but unless you do it well, you just hurt the... Of course, especially a suicide prevention hotline. That should be monitored at such a level. It's not like you can't just open a doctor's office. You can't just open a mental health care office. You can't just open, you have to have guidelines to do that because people's lives are at stake. So can you just open a suicide prevention hotline with no guidelines, no board of directors, nobody overseeing? I really want to make sure that this is happening. So how do we talk about this on a bigger level? Because you cannot have an organization at that level. Not any other organization I know of. Trevor, Transgender Law Center, GLAAD, LGBT Center of Los Angeles. They all have board of directors. They also have laws that they... So how can you just open a suicide prevention hotline? Can you just do that? Because that would be really fucking scary. Freebird says, that's not good. I know calling someone to get help and not getting answers can push... Are you kidding? That's the last thing that should happen. Anyone calling a suicide prevention and nobody picks up. Nobody. Can you imagine? Zoe says, I'll message you and give you the deets. Okay, I appreciate that very much. I appreciate that. And I am not talking bad about Trans Lifeline. I'm telling you what I've heard. And I'm asking questions. And I want us all to make investigation of this. Is there a board of directors? Who is overseeing Trans Lifeline? Where is all the donation money going? I mean, I even heard they don't even have an office. They live out of a trailer and travel around going to hotel rooms and working out of that. Now, this could all be bullshit that I'm hearing. I don't know. But if people are being concerned, people are being concerned and contacting me. So that said, I'm letting you all know what people are saying to me. Ted Bundy was trained, so yes, maybe anyone can do it. That's a scary thought. That's a very scary thought, my friend Glenn. So yes, you're right. Anyone can just say, that's bullshit. I don't know how to answer the phone in a hotline. Do you know how to answer a phone? If someone to call me right now and said, I'm going to kill myself, honestly, I wouldn't know professionally what to do. I know what to do in my heart, but I do not know what to do professionally. There's a way you're supposed to speak to people who are on the edge or not feeling good. And all I know is, please don't do it. But I don't think that that's very professional. So that said, who's training people to go on the hotline? And how are they being trained? And who's training them? And how, you understand what I'm talking about? It's sort of like for me transitioning. Oh, good morning, Pete. How are you, my friend? We're talking about suicide prevention hotlines because they're very important. And then we have one in our community called Trans Lifeline, right? And Trans Lifeline is an organization that deals with specifically transgender people who feel suicidal. But, Pete, I have gotten some pretty disturbing emails recently from people being concerned with them and whether or not they're being watched. Who's their board of director? How are people being trained? That phones haven't been answered when people have been calling. What? And how come nobody's talking about this? All they ever say is Trans Lifeline, but do we really know what's going on there? Alex J says, I've called Crisis Suicide Line and got dumb nimwit that was cold on ice and seemed to be reading answers off the paper. Yeah. Casey says, I called the police to do a wellness check. Yes, right on. Zoe says, and what also frustrates me is that trans life is the only one that I know of that they're for middle-aged peeps, so it's crucial that it be up. Yes, and happy Valentine's Day, Pedro. It not only that, you have to hold a crisis. I don't care what it's called. You have to hold a crisis hotline at this level. It's a crisis hotline. It's not, hi, how are you? You have to train people with knowledge to deal with people when they call in to say, I feel like killing myself. And the phone not being answered, this is what I'm hearing that is disturbing me. Also, who's overseeing everything? Come on, people. You can't just open an organization and not have board of directors or people overseeing. You can't. Denise says it's sad, and I might be wrong. Maybe they do. But I've looked and I don't see it. I've looked and I don't see it. Denise says it's sad that suicide hotlines are not taken seriously. Wow, it's sad. You need trained professionals to get help. Sometimes we need to get information that may need help. We need to investigate trans hotlines. Yes, I'm telling you, people are writing me constantly and telling me, investigate them, Buck, investigate them. So I'm just telling you what people are telling me. I have actually spoken with them. They wouldn't take my donation money when they first started. Let me tell you this little story real quick, but I gotta go. Trans Lifeline refused to take money from the pornographic industry. They refused our money because we use the word tranny, shemale, chicks with dicks, all stuff that's been in the pornographic world forever. And it's used in the context of pornography, and it's not used in the context of anything else. It's just that. But how can you refuse to take our money when you're a transgender suicide hotline that needs money to function? And I called them and I talked to the head lady, Gretchen, I think her name is, Greta. And I said, I think that is unbelievable that you're not accepting our money when you need the money to help people, but you're being nitpicky about the word tranny. You don't have the place to be nitpicky like that if you really want to save lives. The money should not matter where it's coming from. And what I do is professional, and what I do is important work. So basically, what you're telling me is my money is no good. Shame on you. I mean, really, they didn't take my money. It's unbelievable. Yeah, they need to be trained, not a script. Exactly. Jennifer says it's literally a life or death situation. Jennifer says that's horrifying to think that people on the other line aren't qualified. They're not. They're not qualified. I want to know who's training people to go on a suicide hotline. Who's training them? How are they being trained? How long do you get trained? Who are you? What? There's a lot of levels there. You know what I mean? To get to be a person on the other side of the phone for somebody who's calling in suicidal. And that's a real thing. It's like you can't just go to any therapist and just be like, I'm going to open an office and I'm a therapist. It doesn't work that way. There's laws around that. So, hi, Rob. Good morning, my friend. And good morning, Melissa. Happy Valentine's Day. Okay, kids, I'm going to go. Got stuff to do. I love you very much on YouTube. Thank you always for showing up. Have a beautiful day. Give and take. It's a real thing. It's called abundance. Really.